We create quite a bit of documentation in the world of IT, and whenever there's an incident, we always need to create an incident report. Incident reports commonly provide information on what led up to the incident itself, and then how the organization reacted to the actual problem. These reports provide us with documentation that we can use to describe the incident itself and then what we did prior to and after the incident occurring. Most organizations will have a formal incident response plan, and this plan commonly describes exactly what process the organization should take whenever an incident occurs. This creates an ongoing database of these incidents so that we can understand exactly what led up to the incident itself, and then how the organization reacted once the incident was identified. This gives us a way to analyze what has occurred in the past so that we can apply that towards preventing these situations from occurring in the future. Every organization has a different way of working. There are usually a set of processes and procedures to follow depending on what needs to be done. Most organizations will document all of these processes and procedures into a single set of standard operating procedures. This way, there's documentation that can guide us for whatever situation we might find ourselves in. For example, if there's downtime, we need to know what the process is for handling that downtime situation. Who do we contact first to be able to address the downtime itself? And then who do we contact to inform them that the downtime has occurred? Or perhaps we're having a facilities problem. Perhaps we've lost power at a remote site. We need to understand who to contact internally, and we need to understand who we should contact at the power company to inform them of this outage. These standard procedures also impact our day-to-day processes. For example, we might need to install a software package, and there might be a custom installation process that is documented in the standard operating procedures. Or we might have broad procedures applied towards things like testing an application or providing a change control process. The key is to have all of this documentation already predefined and available for whoever needs access. This means if you're working on a help desk, you know exactly the process to be able to handle a particular problem. And if you're working at a remote site, you know all of the processes and procedures associated with that site. Most organizations will also have documentation regarding the onboarding of new employees. If somebody's new to the organization, there are a number of processes that need to take place internally so that that person is able to start working immediately on day one. This documentation might include IT agreements that need to be signed by the employee who's starting. This might be a very broad document where the incoming employee agrees to everything that's in the employee handbook, or it might be a very specific acceptable use policy, or AUP, that we want to have the user sign separately. These onboarding tasks would also include the process of creating a new account or series of accounts for this user. This also includes information about the rights and permissions required for this user, so we can make sure that this person's accounts are associated with the appropriate groups and the appropriate departments. And there may be equipment that needs to be acquired for this new user. We need to make sure that the new employee has a laptop, a tablet, a desktop computer, or any other technology that they need to accomplish their job. Just as we have a set of processes and procedures for bringing people into the organization, we also have a set of very standardized procedures when people are offboarding. This should obviously be a set of processes that have been defined well before someone leaves the organization, because we need to know exactly what to do the moment someone is no longer an employee of the company. For example, what are the procedures for the hardware that is used by this person? They probably have a laptop, a mobile device, maybe they have a desktop computer, and we need a set of processes and procedures on how those assets are to be managed. Perhaps even more importantly, we need to understand what to do with the data that this person was responsible for. Is this information backed up? Has it been handed off to a different person? Is there anything encrypted that we need to be sure we have decryption keys for? And anything else associated with that data needs to be documented in the offboarding processes and procedures. This prevents us from accidentally deleting information that may be important for later. Another important document used by an organization is an SLA. This is a service level agreement. This is usually a document that is created in conjunction with a service provider. For example, there might be a set of minimum terms that are associated with your internet service provider. A service level agreement with an ISP might require a certain uptime or response time associated with that service. These SLAs are commonly put into the contract you have with a third-party service provider, but you could also use SLAs internally within your organization to specify what the minimum requirements might be when working with the IT department or a different department in the organization. Here's an example of the SLA terms you might add to a contract with your internet service provider. You might have an SLA that says you may have no more than 4 hours of unscheduled downtime in an entire year. And if there's more than 4 hours of downtime during that year, there might be a credit or some type of penalty associated with that SLA. The SLA might also say that a technician will be dispatched if there is a long period of downtime, and there might be a requirement as part of that contract that the customer keeps spare equipment on site. So if there is a downtime, they can send a technician, and that technician can use that equipment to get everything back up and running as quickly as possible. From a technical perspective, some of the most valuable documentation you can have is a knowledge base. This commonly provides detailed technical information on how to support hardware, software, or some other type of technology. This might be a knowledge base that is provided and supported by an external vendor. For example, Microsoft has an extensive knowledge base that provides you with detailed information about the inner workings of the Windows operating system. Or you might be able to find detailed technical information on a third-party internet website. There's also a great deal of information that is institutional within your own company. There are specialized applications and different ways of doing things that would be useful to document as part of a knowledge base. Very often, this is a feature built into help desk software that you may already be using, so it may be as easy as turning on that feature or adding additional articles to your help desk software. Knowledge bases provide us with a way to find detailed information in a sea of data. This is usually a searchable archive, and if you're integrating with your help desk software, you might see knowledge base articles appear as part of the help desk ticket itself. This means that things that we may have put into the knowledge base a year ago might appear in a new help desk ticket to help with the resolution process.